is not, okay? So, today, what we're going to be discussing is we're going to discuss the equations of lines. Yesterday, we talked about the slope and how the slope is found using your 2 points and what the slope means. Well, today, we're going to use the slope and we're going to graph lines because that's a big part of what you use the slope for, is to graph lines. The first way we graph lines is something you learned back in Algebra 1 or 8th grade math, slope-intercept form. How many of you know what slope-intercept form is? What is it, Matthew? Sophia, what you got? That's exactly right. Slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Now, what does the m stand for? What's the m stand for? We learned this yesterday. M stands for the slope. So the slope is m, and the b is your y-intercept. Okay? The b is your y-intercept. Now, the y-intercept is actually a point. It's going to be the point 0, b, whatever it is. So when we go to list the y-intercept, make sure we list it as a point, 0, b. Don't just list it whatever the b is. Alright? So, that's slope-intercept form. Now, what 2 letters will always be there? What 2 letters will always be there in slope-intercept form? Y and x will always be there. M and B will change. M and B will change. So, let's make sure we remember that. Okay? Now, next up, you may or may not have discussed back in Algebra 1. I know I did it sometimes. I know sometimes I didn't. But this one, point-slope form, to me, is the most versatile equation you can use because it's easy to move to slope-intercept form from point-slope form, and it's easy to graph from point-slope form as well. Okay? So, in point-slope form, we still need the slope, which is m. M is still our slope, but instead of a y-intercept, we can have any point on the line. So any point on the line, we'll just call x sub 1, y sub 1. Now, the point slope of the equation is going to be as such. Y minus y sub 1 equals your slope, m, times the quantity, x minus x sub 1. Now, I want to point your attention to the minuses and the point. Notice how these are positive, and down here it's minus. So it's going to be whatever this is, it's going to be the opposite down here, okay? And I'll show you what I mean here in just a minute. Alright? So, point-slope form. Just like slope-intercept form, this y and this x will always be there. The slope will be different every time. Your x1 and your y1 will be different every time. Okay? It'll be real easy. And I'll show you how I want you to put it into your Google form here in just a minute, especially when we talk about fractions. Okay? So let's start off easy. First example. What is the slope and y-intercept of the following equation? First off, the slope is always next to, or to the coefficient of which letter? The x. So what's my slope in this problem? 8 is my slope. Now my y-intercept, people would automatically say it's 3, but technically it's a point. The y-intercept is a point. So when you list the y-intercept, it's got to be something, comma, something. Well, the x, you have to go 0 in the x direction to get there. So I'm going to put 0, comma, what? 3. 0, comma, 3, because that's my b. Since it's a plus 3, that'll be a positive 3. Okay? So there's my y-intercept and my slope. All right, let's look at the next one. Y equals 4x minus 1. What's my slope in that equation? 4 is my slope in that equation. Now my y-intercept, is it just -1 or is it a point? It's a point. It's 0, -1. Since it's -1, that's going to be -1. Okay? Now, let's write the equation given the slope and the y-intercept now. Okay? Anytime you see a point 0, something, that's always going to be your y-intercept. Okay? So, my m is going to be which number? 1/2 or 9? Half. Okay? So that's my m. What's my b going to be? 0 or 9? 9. Okay? So the equation I'm going to write here is y equals 1/2x plus or minus 9. Plus 9. Since it's a positive 9, we're going to put plus 9. Now on a Google form, can you put a stacked fraction like that? You can't put a stacked fraction like that on a Google form. So here's how I want you to put this type of answer on your Google form, okay? So on your Google form today, we don't put spaces in there at all. We're just going to put y, then the equal sign, and we're not going to put a space in between there. We're going to put the 1/2, and the slash is the one with the question mark on it. Don't forget to put your x. Y equals 1/2x. And then since it's plus 9, we'll put plus 9. That's how I want you to put it into your Google form. Your y has to be there, your x has to be there, and there's no spaces in there. Got it? So when you put this in your Google form, y equal button 1/2x plus 9. That's how you put it in there. Okay? Any questions? Alright, let's do the next one. What is the slope-intercept equation of the line with a slope of -1 and a y-intercept of 0, -2? Now let me ask you a question. If I write the letter x down right there, if I write the letter x down, what coefficient is automatically implied to be there? 1, right? So if there's no number to the left of there, we automatically put an x, don't we? What about -x? What coefficient is implied to be there if I put -x? -1, right? You don't have to put the 1 as in the final answer, do you? So anytime I have 1 or -1, you don't have to put that in your final answer, okay? Now I'm not going to cut your fingernails off or your toenails off if you do that, okay? But just so you know, if you have a multiple choice quiz or something, that the 1 may or may not be there, okay? So, in this case, since it's slope-intercept, y equals -x. Notice I'm not putting the 1 there. I'm not putting the 1 there because you don't have to. It's implied to be there. Now, is it going to be +2 or -2? -2. Good. So y equals -x minus 2. Okay? Any questions? All right. Now let's talk about point-slope form. The beauty of point-slope form, the reason I like it so much, is because A, you need the slope just like you do slope-intercept form, and it's easy to find the slope. B, you can take any point on that line and make an equation. It doesn't matter what point you use, as long as you have the same slope. And C, the third reason that I like the point-slope form is because once you got any point-slope form equation, it's really, really easy to move it to slope-intercept form. And I'll show you how here in just a minute, okay? So first off, point-slope form, again, is y minus any y point on there, y sub 1, equals your slope times the quantity, meaning parentheses, x minus x sub 1. Okay? So, looking through here, The slope is 4. So what letter am I going to replace 4 with? M. Alright, there's an M. The point, negative 2, 6, that's going to be your x1, y1. Now let me ask you a question. If I ever have negative 2, like x minus negative 2, what does that actually become? It becomes a plus, doesn't it? So we don't like to put back-to-back signs. So what I always tell people is, whichever number this is, it's always going to be the opposite of those two. Okay? So, since it's 6 as my y value, it's going to be y negative 6. So when we put that in there, it's going to be y minus 6, this 6 right here, equals my slope of 4, parentheses, and since it's negative 2, and minus negative becomes a plus, we're just going to put x plus 2. So it's y minus 6 equals 4 times the quantity x plus 2. Okay? So does everybody see that the negative 2 becomes plus 2 in point slope form? Does that make sense? Okay. Let's do the next one. This one's got double negatives in the point. So my slope is the same thing. My slope is 4. My x1 is negative 2. My y1 is negative 6. Don't forget what goes where. Okay, a lot of people want to go ahead and just put y plus 2 there, but the 2 is an x. So I have to put it in the correct spot. Negative 6 will change to a plus 6. So it's going to be y plus 6 equals my slope of 4 times the quantity x plus 2. Okay? Now I said point slope form is very versatile, didn't I? It's very versatile because you only need one point on the line. Okay, you still need your slope. That's not changing, but it's also very easy to change it to slope-intercept form. For instance, if I wanted to change y plus 6 equals 4 times the quantity x plus 2 into slope-intercept form, it's real simple. Y plus 6 equals 4 times the quantity x plus 2. The reason it's so simple is because, hey, I got to do my distributive property. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 2 is positive 8. And then everything else comes down. Y plus 6 comes down, and I have equals 4x plus 8. Well, slope-intercept form needs to look like this. Y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides of my equal sign. Plus 6 minus 6 cancels out, and I'm left with y equals 4x, and positive 8 minus 6 is plus 2. So see how easy it is to move it to slope-intercept form? All you got to do is a little distributive property and combining the like terms. Okay? So that's why I like point slope form so much, because A, you just need a point, doesn't matter which point, as long as it's on that line, and B, it's real easy to move to slope-intercept form. Okay? Any questions? Alright, so let's look here. Next up. Find the point that lies on the line described by the equation y minus 6 equals 3 times the quantity x minus 5. So basically what we're looking for is our x1, y1. Which of those numbers will be my x? Not negative 5, since it's a minus 5 in here, it's going to be a positive 5 when I do my point. Okay? What's my y going to be? 6. Notice how it's minus 6, minus 5. It's positive 5, positive 6 in my point there. Okay? So, that's make sure you know that we're doing the opposites from one to the other. Okay? What's my slope in this one? I know I didn't ask for it, but what's my slope here?
3.
3. My slope is 3. Okay? How about the next one? What's my slope on that one? My slope, is it positive 9 or negative 9? Negative 9. The slope doesn't change its sign, okay? The slope doesn't change its sign. It still says negative 9. A point on the line. What's my x1, y1? Is it negative 8, negative 4? Is it negative 4, negative 8, 4, 8, or 8, 4? What's my point on the line? 8, 4. It's going to be whatever this is, the opposite. That's negative 8. The point's going to be positive 8. And then the y is going to be opposite of negative 4, which is positive 4. Okay? So that's your point on the line. Okay? Now here's what I was talking about on why I like point-slope form so much. It's real easy to move to slope-intercept form. Alright? So, the slope of a line is 8. That line goes through the point 2, 2. Write both the point-slope form and the slope-intercept form. Okay? My slope in both slope-intercept and point-slope is going to be what? What's going to be my slope? 8. So this is my m. Alright? So down here it's going to be y equals 8x. Up here it's going to be y minus something or plus something equals 8 times the quantity x plus or minus something. We'll see here in just a minute. Okay? We can always change that minus to a plus. Okay? Now, this one's real simple because my x is 2. What's the opposite of positive 2? Negative 2. So it's going to be x minus 2. Okay? And my y is a positive 2, so it's going to be y minus 2. So there's my easy point-slope form. Y minus 2. And remember, the first point is your x. The second point is your y. Okay? Now, the reason I like this so much is because now it's real easy to move to slope-intercept form. Okay? I start by distributing. 8 times x is 8x, so y minus 2 equals 8x. 8 times negative 2 is negative 16. Okay? Don't forget to distribute. And then I just do the negative 2 and the negative 16. Add the 2 to both sides. I get y equals 8x minus 14. See how easy that is to take it to slope-intercept form once we've got it in point-slope form? It's really easy. Okay? So y equals 8x minus 14. That's my answer. Okay? Any questions? Any questions? Alright, flip it over when you're ready. Flip it over when you're ready. Am I going too fast? Okay. If I go too fast, slow me down. Now let's learn how to graph those. Alright, let's learn how to graph them. In both point-slope form and slope-intercept form. Okay? So the first equation, given the equation, y equals 3/5 x minus 2, graph the equation and list the y-intercept and the slope. Okay? So let's do this first. Let's list the y-intercept. What is my y-intercept in this problem? Not 2. Not 3/5. Not negative 2, but you're close. 0, negative 2. That's important, okay? Because anytime it asks for the y-intercept is a point. Now, I get it. I used to teach it that way. I would always say my y-intercept is negative 2. I get it. That's what you would go to negative 2 on the y-axis. But when they ask for what is the y-intercept, you have to give it as a point. Okay? Make sure you give it as a point. So, that's my y-intercept. What's my slope? 3/5. So my slope is my m, which is 3/5. So I'm going to go ahead and graph my y-intercept first. So it's at 0 to the left or right, -2. So there's my y-intercept, 0, -2. Now remember, slope is blank over blank. Rise over run. Okay? Now I have a couple of questions to ask you before we start doing the slope. 3/5. Is that the same thing as -3/5? Is that a true sentence right there? No, that is not true. That's false. Because 3/5 does not equal -3/5. Does 3/5 equal +3/5? Is that a true or a false sentence? That's a false sentence. But let me ask you this. What if I put a negative on the 3 and the 5? -3/5. Is that a true or false sentence? This is true. That's true because -3/5, what's a negative divided by a negative? Positive. That's a positive, that's a positive. So this is a true sentence, isn't it? So my two slopes are not just 3/5, but -3/5. Okay? Those are my two slopes. And the reason I want to do that is so I'll have 3 points on the line that are collinear. So here we go. Put your pencil on your y-intercept because that's where we start from. We start from the y-intercept. The rise is +3, so that means I go up or down, or left or right. Up how many? So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, and then to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a point on that line. But I want 3 of them. All right, just in this case, in this instance. Usually I'll be good with that. But sometimes I want to put 3 of them because we might not be able to go up 3 and right 5. So I'm also going to use this slope. This slope says I go which direction first? Down 3 and then where? Left 5. So I would go down 1, 2, 3 and left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. There's the 3 points that are collinear. Then I'm just going to connect the dots and put arrows on the end of them because there are infinitely many points that satisfy that equation. So that's my graph. Okay? Now, do you have to do the 3 points every time? Absolutely not. But the reason I do that is because sometimes you may not be able to go up 3 and right 5. Okay? You may have to go the other direction. I just want you to know that you can. These are equivalent numbers that you can use for your slope. Okay? Any questions? All right. Next up, given the equation y plus 3 equals 4/7 parentheses x plus 5, instead of listing the y-intercept, I want you to list the point from the equation and the slope. Okay? We're going to list the point and the slope. What point from this equation do we know is on the line? Is it 3, 5? Is it 5, 3? What is it?
-5, -3.
There you go. The x goes here. It's a +5, so the point's going to be -5. The y is right here. It's a +3, so it's going to be a -3. Remember, it's going to be the opposite. So I'm going to go ahead and graph that point. I'm going to go left 1. Go left 5, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Then down 3, -1, -2, -3. There's the point that I'm going to use to graph, okay? My slope. What's my slope in this equation? 4/7. So that means which direction from the slope, from my original point, my -5, -3, where do I go first? Up how many? Up 4, and then which direction 7? Right 7. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, can I go down 4 and left 7 on this graph? It's not possible, is it? Can't really go -1, -2, -3, -4, and then left 7. Can't really do that. So we're good with 2 on this one, okay? So I'm just going to connect the dots. And that's it, okay? Okay? All right. Any questions? All right. I'm going to skip number 12. I am going to do 2 more examples, okay? You might need to get an extra sheet of paper out, or if you have room on here, you might want to do it. I'm going to do mine on a separate sheet of paper. So if you want to get an extra sheet of paper out, I've got 2 more examples that you're going to see in your homework today, okay? So get you a clean sheet of paper out, or you may have room to write it at the bottom there. I don't know. But here we go. Alright, so here we go. This will be number 13. We skipped 12. Number 13. Write the equation of the line that goes through the points 4, 3 and 1, -3 in slope intercept form. Okay, I'll give you a second to write that down, okay? Write the equation of the line that goes through the points 4, 3 and 1, -3 in slope intercept form. Okay? If you can't read my handwriting, let me know and I'll write the equation of the line that goes through the points 4, 3 and 1, -3 in slope intercept form. Okay? Alright, so, what's missing? What do we need that we definitely need in either slope intercept or point slope form? What do we need? Need the slope, don't we? We don't have explicitly the slope given to us. I need to find the slope, okay? But we know the slope formula. The slope, or our M, is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? So, x1 will be 4, y1 will be 3, x2 will be 1, y2 will be -3. That's specifically for slope purposes, okay? So we're going to plug in -3 minus 3 over 1 minus 4, and we learned yesterday that you can get alpha y equals to pull up your fractions. We'll do -3 minus 3 on top, 1 minus 4 on the bottom. That gives me a slope of 2. Alright, so there's the first piece of the puzzle. We found our slope. Okay? Now, the second thing, you've got options. I'm going to do both of them. Okay? Option 1. Option 1 is if I use the point 4, 3, because I have 2 points on my line, don't I? I've got 4, 3 and 1, -3. We're going to see which one gives us the correct slope-intercept. And you're going to find out it's going to be both of them. Alright? So, option 1, point-slope form, I always like to start out with because it's really easy to move from point-slope form to slope-intercept form. Okay? So option 1, the 4 would be my x1, the 3 would be my y1. Okay? So it's y minus 3 equals, the slope is 2 times the quantity, x minus 4. Alright? Y minus 3 equals 2 times the quantity, x minus 4. And we distribute. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times -4 is -8. So y minus 3 equals 2x minus 8. Okay? Then add 3 to both sides. Add 3 to both sides. Y equals 2x, -8 plus 3 is -5. So there's my answer. If that's the option you picked, that's your answer. Okay? But I'm going to show you that it really doesn't matter. I can pick 4, 3 or 1, -3, and I'm still going to get the same slope-intercept form. So option 2 is using the point 1, -3. Okay? So again, my slope-intercept form is y minus y1 equals the slope times the quantity, x minus x1. In this case, is it going to be y minus 3 or y plus 3? It's going to be plus 3. So there's my x1, y1. So it's y plus 3 equals 2 times the quantity, x minus 1 or x plus 1? X minus 1. Okay? Distribute. Y plus 3 equals 2x minus 2. 2x minus 2. Subtract 3 from both sides. Subtract 3 from both sides. The y comes down. Those cancel. Equals 2x. And -2 minus 3 is -5. You get the same slope-intercept form, but the different point-slope forms. Now, if I had asked for this in point-slope form, you could have picked either this one or this one. I would accept both of them. Okay? But if I ask for it in slope-intercept form, you're going to get the same one. So point-slope form, it's okay to just leave it like this. Slope-intercept form, you have to take it down like this, okay? Alright, that's my lesson for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye.